Hello everyone, welcome to Analog IAS Current Affair Analysis for 3rd June 2020, and these are the articles we'll be dealing today. The first article for the day is taken from the Live Mint, and it talks about a concept called creative destruction and how it is going to create new market opportunities. Now, before getting into the details of this article, let us understand the concept of creative destruction. There is an Austrian economist called Joseph Schumpeter who derived this economic theory based on Karl Marx's work. So, his theory talks about creative destruction, and it is treated as a theory of economic innovation and business cycle. So, what exactly is this theory proposing? This theory is also called Schumpeter's Gale. So, to put this concept in the most simplest way possible, the theory says that economy reinvents itself from time to time based on the circumstances. So it will replace the old production patterns with the new one. For example, if you take the case of a pager was replaced by a cell phone. Now normal cell phones became smaller and smaller, and in 2007 the Apple iPhone created a revolution with the invention of a touch phone. Even before that, smartphones were there, but a touch phone was revolutionized only with the advent of an iPhone. So today, touch phones and smartphones are the only kind of smartphones that are being used in the market. So this is a technological revolution, and that is why we can say that, taking the example of cell phone industry, there has been a creative destruction where old and obsolete models are destroyed and new models are created. Now, when we are talking about the economic transformation of our country, we are talking about certain market opportunities which can be destroyed to make way for the new ones. That is the focus of this article. Let us try to understand which market segments is the article dealing with and what are the opportunities. Whenever economists try to understand the problems of an economy, there are two ways to look at the problems. One is the Keynesian model, and the other model is something that brings change from outside. Now, what is this problem of Keynesian stimulus, or the problem of Keynesian supply and demand? So basically, in this view, whatever is happening within an economy is because of the adjustment between supply and demand. If you take the example of Great Depression, there has been a supply shock, and that has resulted in, eventually it has resulted in demand shock as well. Similarly, if you talk about the global financial crisis, it led to a demand crash. That is the reason why there was no money, and quantitative easing was helpful in this particular scenario. But if you take the present COVID-19 situation, it is neither a issue of supply nor a issue of demand. The entire world is forced to stay indoors due to the lockdown to avoid loss of life. So this COVID-19 situation can be seen as a structural change. Similarly, if we take a look at the climate change patterns, even that can be enforcing a structural or fundamental ways in which our production patterns are designed. So these are the two ways. The probable impact of this structural and fundamental shift in our economic patterns will have long lasting impact in 4 different domains, according to this author. There are 3 negative impacts and there is 1 positive outcome. The 3 negative impacts are: there will be a halt in how we are educating our future generations, and this will result in capacity building issues. Secondly, investment is coming down across the world, and therefore demand will eventually reduce. This will lead to a global level economic crash. However, there is also a 4th and very important positive point, that is, there will be a scope for huge innovation, and this is where the concept of creative destruction comes. So in this crisis, in this moment of crisis, human beings are forced to innovate new patterns of production. Therefore, creative destruction will be the savior for our future economics. That is the point that this author is trying to convey. Now, how do we do this? The important point that we have to remember here is we need support from the government for any sort of innovations, even if it comes from one of the most remotest villages in our country. What our ecosystem, especially in the domain of science and research, requires is a voice that can be heard. So we need to channelize all the innovative ideas that are coming from everywhere, whether it comes from the remotest of the villages or the highest of the institutes. We need to be willing to hear, because we never know what kind of solution comes from which place. Therefore, all these innovative ideas should be brought forward onto a national level platform, so that the best practices evolve and research and development takes the front seat to drive the change in our economy. That is the gist of this article. The next article is taken from the Hindu and it is titled Seizing the Moment at World Health Organization. So recently, India has been given the responsibility of heading the World Health Organization's executive board at a very important time, because this is the time of a crisis. The world is facing one of the worst crises of its existence in the known history of mankind. So there have been many pandemics in the past as well, but this one has been more severe because of the globalization. So it is in this moment that India has decided to take the lead of this executive board, and the present article suggests 5 different elements that should form the part of India's policy approach. Now let us have a look at them one by one. But before that, let us try to understand what are the challenges for India before it heads the World Health Organization's executive board. The first one is the Cold War that is brewing between United States and China. So the World Health Organization is caught between US and China, and recently United States President Donald Trump wrote a letter to the World Health Organization Director General citing that he is permanently withdrawing his funding if the World Health Organization does not commit itself to take substantive reforms within 30 days. This is the immediate threat that we have before us right now. If you take the present context, by contrast, at the World Health Assembly plenary, the Chinese President Xi Jinping has ensured that he would fund $2 billion to fight the virus. The Chinese President also promised that he would ensure that 30 African hospitals with domestic counterparts have the help from China, and that they will accelerate the building of African centers for disease control. So they also promise that they will ensure that vaccine development in China, whenever is available, would be made a global public good. This is a very important statement. So given the stance offered by China, where it is very accommodative and is trying to own a certain responsibility in dealing with this pandemic, and on the other hand, we have a very popular opinion that we should hold China accountable, and this sentiment is exhibited by the US as well as many other countries like Australia, which are hell-bent on opening up Chinese labs to ensure that transparency is available and to ensure that the coronavirus or COVID virus is not actually created in a Chinese lab. So what are the policy options available with India in this times of crisis? So the first one should be to ensure that the present situation is under control, and that should be the first priority. So India must insist that epidemic prevention and control should be the first priority of the international community. Later we can look about all these political issues. Secondly, India must definitely push the WHO Secretariat to fast track the comprehensive review of World Health Organization's and China's early response to the outbreak. Why did the World Health Organization issue a notice to the world that the coronavirus outbreak has no potential man to man or human transmission. It was a false information. So the review findings should illuminate best practices and highlight the areas for improvement. The third step that India should focus upon as its chairman is ensure equitable access to vaccines for all. As and when the COVID vaccine comes, it should be made a global good without an issue of intellectual property rights coming into the picture. Another important event that is happening at the World Health Assembly is the issue of tussle between Taiwan and China. This is more of an internal issue of China and its one China policy. So this is not the forum or opportunity for India to have any opinion about, because this is a issue of politics. So in order to do its job very efficiently, India must stay aloof from this issue completely. And lastly, but most importantly, we have to keep One Health concept of World Health Organization into our consideration. This One Health concept focuses on sustainable environment and sustainable health patterns across the world. So this idea of sustainability should reflect in our imposition of global ban on consumption of wild animals across the world. So these are the areas that India should focus upon immediately. That is the gist of this article. That's it for the day.